It's the holidays, which means there's no shortage of opportunities to give. But let me tell you about an organization that needs your help year-round. Jeremiah Program is breaking the cycle of poverty 2 generations at a time by empowering single moms to pursue college degrees while their children receive high-quality early education. And your gift provides critical support that makes success possible. So go on over to jeremiahprogram.org/Austin to give today and learn how you can be part of the movement to disrupt generational poverty. Again, that's jeremiahprogram.org/Austin. Planning your wedding should be a stress-free, memorable time. But in all the weddings I've been in, and there have been a few, this is never the case. So if wedding planning feels like too much, Simply Eloped is here to make it easy and deeply human. They've planned over 14,000 personalized ceremonies in 37 stunning U.S. destinations, coordinating every detail with real care. You literally just bring your marriage license and they take care of the rest. They are a people core business in the age of AI. Your love deserves simplicity, so visit simplyeloped.com. The holidays are pulling lots of people downtown, but from the myth about the Rainy Street Ripper to the actual violence that sometimes breaks out on 6th Street, we want to know, is downtown Austin safe? Today on CityCast Austin, we have Councilmember Zoe Caudry, and he says it's getting there. It's Monday, December 22nd. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here with Zoe Caudry, Austin City Council member, District 9. Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So, okay, almost 1 year ago, Austin reopened 6th Street to weekend traffic after decades of it being a pedestrian-friendly scene. And the goal was to make things safer. And I gotta say, I will admit, because I am a creature of habit, I was definitely one of those people that was like, no, wait, what? Why? Why would you do that? But I'm curious, has it worked? Is it safer?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things we've been doing on 6th Street to make it safer. 6th Street's the heart of downtown. I wanted to feel safe as a council member, but I also, selfishly as a resident of Austin, I want 6th Street to be safe. I want to be welcoming. I want it to be vibrant. And I think we've made steady progress on both activation and safety this past year. So we led on an item around the 6th Street Safety Plan resolution. It looked to improve data collection, infrastructure, mobility coordination, and public safety tools. We also then were a co-sponsor on one of Mayor Watson's items around the Downtown Austin Strategic Initiatives, the DASI, which the Downtown Austin Strategic Initiative oversees all major downtown projects across mobility, public safety, homelessness, arts and culture, and all that stuff. We've also supported APD and EMS shifts based on real-time needs and peak activity patterns in the area. And then we've backed pedestrian safety improvements by pedestrian crash response audits, how that kind of came to be. Our office actually made the request for those audits. There was I don't believe they were a constituent, but they worked in the downtown area, and they were crossing a crosswalk on their way to work. And a car came and they were struck by this vehicle. When they reached out to our office, we reached out for a report on the incident, and there wasn't anything. It was kind of a void. So we looked at making sure that we have proper response and reporting and audit and all that stuff. So there is a paper trail. And then outside of that, we've been working with nightlife operators and business owners and public safety teams around safety. I think there's 2 types of safety on 6th Street, by the way.
Yeah.
Your physical safety when you're on the street and you're going into a bar or club or just walking around. And then there's that safety of the pedestrian aspect of it, right? That you're not struck by a car.
A car. Yeah.
So I think we're moving towards like long-term transformation. Obviously, this isn't nothing happens instantly. There's no
Yeah.
quick fixes. So I think we're on the right path to answer your question. But I think there's just so much more work to be done
Yeah.
because the current version of Sixth Street didn't happen over the past year. Like the issues with it didn't
Yeah.
happen over the past year or two or three or five or 10. Like this has been building up for a long time.
It's going to take a minute. Yeah. The changes on 6th Street have been made in phases. They're still in phases. And now there is a mobility and revitalization project that seems like it's going to change things even more, right? And I think that's trying to decide if there's going to be bike lanes on the street or something like that, or they're going to extend the sidewalk. I'm curious what's next for 6th Street.
We've had the conversation around the bike lanes and the sidewalks and everything that you kind of mentioned. How to kind of optimize that vision and make sure we have things like bike lanes and like street cafes and all that stuff. But what's next? Like I said, I generally think we're trending in the right direction. Stream Realty owns, I believe, most of the street. And in conversations with Stream, they've been really encouraged by the improvements. When I first started in office, they were at one place where they were not as encouraged. And they were talking about how it's been hard to get folks to kind of buy into the future and the vision of Sixth Street. In my last conversation with them, like they're really excited about where Sixth Street's going. They've been really encouraged by the improvements. And then they've also said that there's a lot of interest now, right? Like they're getting X amount of business owners who are like, hey, we want to move in and we want to set up shop. So I'm really optimistic, right? Like what I want Sixth Street to be is this Sixth Street that is activated both day and night, and would like to see it, it as a place that everyone can take advantage of, right? I don't personally go to Sixth Street. I don't drink, so that takes away a lot of me going to Sixth Street. But in my instances of going to Sixth Street, like I've always, when I was a student at UT, I'm like, oh, this is a party area.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, if I go, I might go to a restaurant or I pick up some donuts from Voodoo Donuts. But I'm still like, hey, it's a party area, right? It's not necessarily where you bring your parents or your grandparents or your kids if you have any. So I'd like it. My vision is that it can still have those cool party aspects to it, but it's also somewhere where you could bring family to.
I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but for whatever reason, I cannot picture it. Like I can't, and I think it's because my whole life it's been Dirty Six. It's been really hard for me to shift that perspective. But I'm interested. It feels good to be like, okay, I do like this idea of like having shops and stuff and more restaurants. I do like that idea. I do like it.
Anytime I've gone to NOLA and I've gone to the French Quarter or gone on Bourbon Street, there are parts of it that are very much like, for adults and this and that, especially at nighttime. But there are I feel like during the day, maybe it's not Bourbon Street and it's just the French Quarter, where I'm walking around and there are a bunch of brunch places, right? And you do see families out and about. Yeah. So, I just wanted, the very end of the day, I wanted it to be a street for everyone, a welcoming street for everyone, and a safe place.
Okay, I like this. I like this idea of a little something new. I think our city could use it. And I also think that we're changing and we're growing so fast. I think it's going to maybe fall in line with how we're growing.
Yeah. And I'm really invested, like I said, as a council member who represents District 9, hopefully I'll be in the seat for the 2 terms that I'm allowed. But even when I'm off the council, like as a resident, right? And I have a 4-month-old now.
Oh, I can hear those cute little squeals in the background. It's adorable. And I'm super into it. I'm just like, it's a baby.
So yeah, I have a 4-month-old now. I'd like to live in Austin for the rest of my life. Like I moved here as a teenager and met my wife here, and we've called Austin home, but he's now a part of that story.
Yeah.
And I'd like, to, like I said, live here for the rest of my life. And that includes having him until he either goes to UT or goes elsewhere. But as long as he's here, like I want the city to work for him. I want him to be able to enjoy the city. I want his peers to be able to enjoy the city.
That's fair. So another downtown safety topic. When you were here last, we talked a lot about safety around Lady Bird Lake before, and your efforts to just like make sure bar patrons on Rainey Street and elsewhere are more safe and more aware. How are we preparing for the holidays when it comes to being that close to the water?
Yeah, I mean, what we've worked on making sure that, all the unique challenges that Sixth Street has, narrow streets, residential growth. I mean, it's one of the most dense places in the country, right?
Yeah.
You have the residential growth, you have heavy weekend crowds, especially during like, football weekends, ACL, South by. I mean, especially with the convention center going down and activations being, dispersed throughout the city. Like it is a hot area where you have a lot of people. So what I worked on as a council member, what we worked as an office, is a dedicated EMS response plan tailored to Rainy Street. Also, better coordination with EMS, APD, and transportation staff. And then the things that we've kind of done on the trailhead, improvements in lighting and signage, crowd flow management. We've also, when it comes to data, we've talked to folks on the safety issues that we had been seeing on the trailhead. I believe that our things that we brought up as a council and as an office have improved safety issues. There was a very unfortunate series of events that happened on Rainy Street when I first got into office and before, and there were some instances after. But there was no serial killer, right? There's a professor at Texas State University who did a report, and it basically was around like the I'll call it a conspiracy theory that there's a serial killer.
And that report with Austin police found that there was not one.
But I think that was really important, right? Like having that clarity, because it allows us to better do our job and looking at actual safety needs. And there's no sense, people aren't, being kind of pulled into this like
unnecessary dramatic
unnecessary drama.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Or like unnecessary fears, so that way they also know like what actually was happening, what is going on, and where they can also be more hyper aware.
Yeah.
And I think that just leads to better, a better outcome. So the EMS plan is ongoing, and we're monitoring and updating it to kind of fit, as things happen with the residents and visitors. And I'm going to be really curious, and obviously praying for the smoothest of the next several months. But now with the convention center being closed for the next several years, and with South by still being a major international festival, as we see people come into the city and not have that massive hub to go to, and I'm not exactly sure what South by looks like throughout their whole 26 plans yet. But I do imagine there's going to be more activations and things on 6th Street. You're going to see more people going. People are obviously going to be out having a good time. So making sure that we're able to control the crowds that go there, and that through what we've already done, that we're protecting people in that period. Right?
Yeah,
like we need
that's it.
That needs to be first, second, and third thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely going to be an all hands on deck situation, because with the way it's going to sprawl out, I mean, you're going to have some sort of,
Yeah, I mean,
plan.
When the first incident happened that I was aware of, which was in early February after the winter storm of 23, city manager at the time was Jesus Garza, the interim city manager.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, we need to get something like South by starts in like less than a month.
Yeah.
We need to make sure there's stuff there. So even though it wasn't what you see now, but they got temporary fencing and they got temporary lighting and all that stuff up, because I was like, I don't want, I don't want tragedy to continue, right? Like I think it's our moral responsibility is to be effective. And as council members, I just want to make sure we continue to be effective and people are safe.
So you mentioned this earlier, and I was gonna talk about drinking, because I know that you don't drink, but we've heard that like drinking is down in general, not just in Austin, but like a lot of really all over the country. I'm not saying that our tourism is heavily focused on drinking, but I will say that Austin is viewed as a drinking spot. Like it's viewed as a spot that you can go get a cocktail. We know we have great bartenders, great places in the downtown area. Like there's like 2,000 different holiday pop-ups. There's like cheap rides that are being offered so that you can get home safely, which I love. Have you been hearing any kind of data about Austinites downtown drinking less? Have you been seeing anything like that across your desk?
I haven't. It doesn't mean that's not the case, but whether folks are drinking the same, less, or more, we obviously want to make sure that people's experiences are pleasant when they go out, and especially around the holiday time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I was at Mexicarte last week, and I didn't want to park at City Hall and walk because it was really cold. I tried to find street parking closer, and when I was walking, I probably passed like 10 holiday parties.
Yeah.
And obviously you could hear like the people screaming and the music and the noise, and obviously people are probably drinking. So want to make sure that folks are safe. And one of the things that I mean, I'm pivoting selfishly to something that we did as an office because I do think it helps people, and I'm proud of it. And I think it relates to drinking, regardless if you're drinking more or less or the same. Is a Sip Safely program that we brought forward, which allows bars to opt into getting drink spiking testing strips.
Yes.
But I think the last time that I had been given an update, it was like 60, 70 bars had like opted into it.
Nice.
They're given the strips, and then they're given a bunch of like drink covers so they could give to patrons so they could put over their drink. And I've talked to the owners who have like opted into it, and they're really excited about it. And then I've also had people, without realizing our office had anything to do with it, but like friends have gone out and they've like taken a picture of the stuff, or they've taken a picture of the little cover they put.
Yeah.
They're like, oh look, because it has City of Austin like the logo on it.
Okay.
So they're like, oh, like, props to y'all. Like, y'all are doing such a great job. We're like, this is such a cool idea. Like,
well, I'm curious. I think that if the trend continues and Austinites do drink less, I think that this will probably this will fall in line with the new vision for 6th Street. Like less drinking, not less drink. I'm not saying that the new vision for 6th Street is less drinking, but I'm saying that there will still be stuff to do if people want to do something other than drink. That falls in line with the vision of 6th Street.
Yeah, I think it's like just to diversify that experience, right? Like if you want to grab a beer or drink or go out, like it should still be that place, right? If you want to have a bachelor party or bachelorette party, like it could still be a destination, but it's also so much more.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that should be celebrated, and that should be so cool, right? That it's not like it's everything that you would want, not just one thing, right? Like, so yeah.
I like the diversifying of 6th Street.
Like I'm really excited. Like I know this is that end of the year time where everyone's asking you like, what are you most excited about, or what are you most proud of, or yada yada yada. And I'm like, I'm really excited about the work we've done, and I'm excited in the direction the city's going. I moved here almost 17 years ago, and I think I've caught myself when I talk to my younger siblings who have gone to UT. I'm like, yeah, the drag used to be so much cooler back then.
It absolutely was.
When I talk to folks and they're like, oh, well, the Austin of the 1970s was the best Austin, the 1980s or 1990s, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I think the best Austin is now, and I think the best Austin is that we're building towards, and I'm so excited for that, right? I'm excited, for an Austin where we'll properly, do right by all Austinites.
Yeah, I love that. Same. Yeah, I definitely miss old Austin. I'm not gonna lie. It happens several times a week when I drive past. I'm like, oh no, where's that thing? So I won't say that I don't miss things, but I am excited about where we're going. I really am.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. I think I miss the thing. Like, and obviously I haven't been here as long as you have. But there's definitely things that I'm like, oh, that's weird. Where did that go? Right? Like, especially as someone who moved here for university. So my like formidable memories are as a university kid, right? Like walking home from campus at like 2, 3 in the morning and like passing place XYZ. And I was driving with my wife and the baby the other day. And I was like, I met my wife at UT, and I was like, hold on, that place now that thing's at, wasn't that where your friend used to live at? And she's like, no. And she's like, oh yeah, that's where she used to live. I'm like, all those little shacks are gone now, and it's just so different. But I'd if anything, like I miss when people leave Austin, right? And if we could do things to keep people here, like people are what makes Austin weird and cool and exciting. I can count on one hand how many of our classmates still live in Austin,
Yeah,
and it's
people
not
are
that
leaving.
people are leaving or have
It's
left, right?
hard. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
And you know, it's not necessarily by choice. Like there are people who move to New York or LA or Chicago, but there's a lot of people who were in Austin who now live in Leander or Pflugerville
Yeah.
or Round Rock or Manor or Buda. And I'm like, and they always tell me, they're like, I wish I could be in Austin. I
Well, they
wish I could
can't
afford.
afford it. It's hard. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's hard to live here because it's expensive, and I know that we're working on it.
Sure.
Speaking of which, so Austin just finished the budget process a little later than usual
Yeah.
this year after voters rejected Prop Q, and the city manager had to come up with a new plan. And one thing that you touted in the budget that passed is the new EMS and MCOT plan. And so I'm just curious from your view, like why was this something that you think city council prioritized in a year of cutting back?
So weird budget cycle, right? Normally budget is worked on in the months leading up to August, and we have like 3 days to pass the budget. But this year, the caveat was it was being tied to a TRE, which is a tax rate election, which was Prop Q. Prop Q, you know, whatever side you were on of Prop Q, fortunately, unfortunately, it failed. And when it failed, it triggered basically the city having to redo the budget. So we repassed the budget last month. And I think what we heard from constituents, both during the first budget cycle in the Prop Q election, and then leading up to the second budget cycle, was the need and the want of like just basic city services, right?
Yeah.
And among that was like fully functioning concepts like EMS and MCOT, right? So we as an office, as a council member, as a budget subquorum, we very much pushed for EMS sworn overtime to eliminate brownouts and make sure our response capacity was up to speed. Fully funding EMCOT 24/7, some mental health emergency response was extremely important, especially as a council member who represents the downtown area. And then making sure that we're funding non-congregate shelter and permanent supportive housing for our unhoused neighbors. Residents were telling us, hey, give us the basics, right? Like make sure that our standard of care and living is the highest possible. So it was, like I said, our responsibility to make sure that we acted on that.
I love that. I know that you guys had to make some tough decisions, what I like to call pimp decisions. Like it's like you just got to make these hard.
I'm sorry, what decisions?
I call them pimp decisions. It's like you got to make hard decisions that not everybody is going to like and not everybody's going to be with, but it's for the greater good.
No, yeah, I agree with that. And everyone who does the work, from the city manager to the mayor to the council to city staff, we all deeply care about the city.
Yeah.
And we all deeply want it to work for us because we all live here and we will live here, and everyone has their moment on council and then they roll off and they still live in the city. So I was happy with the work that we were able to get done. It was obviously tough.
Yeah,
I understand, and see the people who feel the wins, but I also feel the people who are like, hey, more should have been done. My hope is that as we move forward as a council, we look forward to the next budget cycle, which people are already reaching out to me saying, hey, can we talk about the next
because
budget?
you have to.
Yeah,
it never stops. Yeah,
let's do it. I'm like, I have meetings scheduled for next month to talk about the budget, which we won't bring up until August. But I'm like, let's do it, because the earlier the conversation, the more collaborative we can be. Like the more we have our ear on the ground and we're hearing from constituents and stakeholders, like the earlier, like the better, because the budget is just going to become tighter and tighter. And it's like, how do we make sure that we just continue to do right by folks? There's this claim of being like this, live music capital of the world and a place for creatives and artists. Like, how do we make sure that we support culture, the cultural and creative initiatives and updates on, once again, stuff that we've worked on, art in public places and better film incentive structures? And how do we make sure, going back to our conversation around 6th Street, right? And the updates there, right? How do we make sure that it's a safe place, both as a patron, but also as a pedestrian, right? And improvements for pedestrians and mobility improvements, and making sure that the city works for you.
That's perfect, and that's on that. So thank you so much for being here. That's like the perfect ending. And that's it. We're going to take it. Thank you. Thank you for coming on and talking with me again. It's always great to have you on.
No, I appreciate it.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Councilmember Caudry's website in our show notes. And if you enjoyed the show, y'all already know, tell your friends, rate the show, leave us a review, subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. And of course, if you really love us and you love conversations like this, and you love the fact that I get in people's business, support us by becoming a neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.